Hey friends, so welcome to DBC Inc. Live. It's our Thursday night free PD live with the Balance Like a Pirate authors, and I'm so excited to have them on the show. Can everybody say hi?
Hello.
Hey everyone. We are so pumped to have them here. We're excited to chat with them and hear what they have to share with us. I was going to get their names showing on the screen. We'll do that in just a minute when I'm not like trying to introduce myself. But as you are coming on the show, please do tell us, hey, Kristen, how's it going? Tell us who you are, where you're from, share something exciting that happened today or this week, something that you're celebrating. And we will go around and also introduce ourselves and share something that we're celebrating. So you guys know I'm Tara. I'm your host. Dave is in the house tonight. We have the Balance Like a Pirate authors. First of all, something that happened that's exciting. Well, my son is getting much better. He had a concussion and he's starting to feel so much better. He is on his first run from healing up from that, and I'm super excited for him. So that's something exciting that's happening in the Martin house. And then we'll move over and let the girls introduce themselves and share something that's exciting happen in their world. We'll start with you. Well, there's two Jessicas. We'll start with you, Sabine.
Oh, all right. I'm Jessica Bean. I'm one of the Jesses here. And you know what? I think it's Thursday. That's something to be exciting about. Yeah. I don't know about any of you, but in the summer, I have a hard time remembering what day of the week it is. Mm-hmm. So just really excited to be here and to just be connecting with you guys. So excited that it's Thursday night.
Yes, Friday Junior.
Friday Junior, I like that.
Yeah, I'll take it. All right, Jessica, our other Jessica.
All right, I'm Jessica Johnson. I am excited. Today myself and one of my teachers trained our student leaders to be link crew leaders this year for our incoming freshmen. So it was a really fun afternoon with them and getting to hang out with them. And so just their excitement and passion to be student leaders has got me jazzed up. I'm celebrating that I am healthy because I had these two have heard about it, but I had cellulitis on my eyelid and I almost had to be hospitalized, and I was on so many medications. It was crazy, but I am good now. So I'm glad to be healthy and here.
I'm super glad you're healthy too. Being sick, man, it gives you a whole new appreciation for the things like our eyes, like the things like anything that's not well. And then all of a sudden it's well again. You're like, wow, I hope that never happens again. Yes. So Sarah, you are up next, my friend.
Hey, everyone. So I'm the other Johnson. We've got two Jessicas and two Johnsons. So people kind of struggle with that business, but excited to be here. I normally would say I'm in Wisconsin, but tonight I'm in Minnesota. And so I'm going to say that's my celebration. I am visiting my parents. My daughters and I took a 4.5-hour drive to get here, and we arrived just on time to have a nice little relaxing dinner. And now I'm out in my happy space where the wind chimes are going and the hummingbirds are flowing right by me. So that's my celebration right now, is being able to be here.
So beautiful. So beautiful. Well, thank you all for sharing your celebrations. There's so many in the house tonight. We're really excited that you're joining us on a summer night. We know there's a lot of things to do on a summer night. So really appreciate when you join us. And if you're watching this on the playback, we love you too. And so really every single comment that is listed over in the comment section, either on YouTube or on Facebook, will be entered to win a free Balance Like a Pirate book tonight. So you definitely want to get your comments over in the comment section. You definitely want to check out this incredible book. We'll talk a little bit about it. I'll let the ladies share a little bit about it, what they're hoping the readers get from their book. And then they have a topic they would like to share with us tonight, the post-pandemic pirate. So I'm really excited about that topic too. But before we move into the content, ladies, why don't we share just a little bit about Balance Like a Pirate and what they can expect from it? Anybody can go. I should probably call on somebody. But
yeah, we didn't plan. So
we started with Jessica and work our way around.
We started being passionate about self-care before everybody was talking about it in the pandemic. I know everybody's talking about that now. Sarah, we were actually all just joking about that. But Balance Like a Pirate really came out of our own journey together, along with other educators on Voxer, having those conversations about how do we have balance, because our jobs are so tough and we give so much to our jobs, but how do we not let our families escape us, our own passions, our health? Do one of you ladies want to talk about the P's, the 4 P's?
Yeah, sure. So we also really wanted to make sure that we stress that balance isn't just work and life, but there's multiple quadrants within that. So we talk about your personal quadrant, which is a lot about self-care, family, well-being, your positional quadrant, which is kind of that day job. I really like the affirmation from the 2 authors. It's a little intimidating when you're speaking. The 2 are here. And then you have professional, which is even like tonight, just the learning and growing with others and continuing to become better educators. And then passions, which is something that not all of us always think of, like really focus on, is things that bring us joy outside of our jobs and our titles. And so those quadrants, we always really want to focus on making sure that we're kind of covering each quadrant, even in the ups and downs and seasons of the school year.
I also think because we don't cover this very often, and we're so fortunate to be a part of this awesome family with DBC Inc. And of course, Dave being here, being, that first pirate, we also go into in the book about, passion, immersion, relationships, and ask and analyze, help me with the T, transformation and enthusiasm. And so we have our own, whole layout in the book. And I think that piece we don't often get to talk about as much when we're working and we're working with professionals. So that's a space I think there's a lot of inside of the book, a lot of inspirational content. We also pull stories from many of the people who are joining us here tonight, which is fantastic because all of our voices matter. And I think one thing we do know about this book is that it has application to every single one of us, right?
And I love the community that has formed with the hashtag Balance Lab as well, of people sharing their own tips, their own celebrations. We've got people who are sharing a little bit every day that they're taking a walk in Australia. Like I love seeing and learning from everybody else who's tweeting with Balance Lab.
That is so true. I think that.
Well, I think we Jess did a nice job of saying it at the beginning too, is that we're just so grateful for this community because, I mean, you notice it now, a lot of people are talking about self-care, and it wasn't as popular when we started to write this book. So it's been really helpful to have the support of Burgess to put this forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we absolutely love Balance Like a Pirate. I think the one thing that I love so much about this book is you guys, well, all of you really stress that balance doesn't mean you have to have it like all together all the time. And I think a lot of people misunderstand that. They're like, oh, this is going to, either they think, oh, this is going to be the guy that like helps me to get it all together all the time. Or they're like, no way can those girls actually have it all together all the time. But the point of the book is not that at all. It's all about, as the ladies talked about, stressing about that self-care, and then also building this community around that we are better together. We truly are. When we start to like really work together and understand, like, I'm taking a walk, this is giving me strength so I can go ahead and do this thing, or I'm freeing up some space in my mind so I can be creative a little bit later. So I really love Balance Like a Pirate. I feel like all the strategies you guys put in there are just make sense. It's just stuff that we can do every single day, and we can lead in that way. And so I just love this book. I think it's perfect. So everyone in this show, watching it on the playback or watching it live, you better get your comments over in the comment section. Say amen, say something, so you can get a chance to win this book. And if you don't win, it's okay. Just go click the link above or below this video and order your copy today. You need it as a part of your professional library. It's necessary. All right. So now we'll let the ladies share their content tonight. I'm super excited about this, and I'll try not to make myself big this time and make myself disappear, so these ladies can share what is on their heart and mind today for the post-pandemic pirates.
Yeah, so we were just thinking, like, man, this last year and a half was like so rough. We were immersed in the bottom of the ocean, sinking so far away from balance, like deep in positional of everything that this year took. And so we thought, now that we made it out of COVID and people are relaxing in the summer, hopefully, at least here on this side of the world, we are. I know not everybody has summer right now, but now what are we doing? And how are we relaxing? What are you doing to get ready for the next school year? Hopefully a normal school year.
If I could just jump in, one of the most important quotes that we focus on from this book, and the one that still kind of transcends all of the different trends since 3 years ago, this book was published. Yay, the world has changed. Our lives have changed. We've all changed positions since this book was published. Literally, we're not doing the same roles that we were doing when this came out. Was that the key to thriving through the elusiveness of balance is to incessantly seek it, recalibrate often, and never give up on basically pursuing it. And I just paraphrased our work, so copyright infringe, whatever. But the point is that I think what we wanted to emphasize is that it's time to recalibrate, friends. It's a recalibration time for all of us. Kabine, did you want to chime in on that? Because you were the one who came up with this post-pandemic pirate theme.
Which Jay Billy just said that sounds like a new book series. That's a really good idea. Post-pandemic pirate.
Well, I think what we've talked about is some things that we've been doing need to be done. Maybe even pre-pandemic. Maybe it was being connected to social media or technology all the time, or always responding to emails, or not spending enough time with your family. I think we just realized that this is an opportunity to reflect on things that we've always done to see if we can be done with them. And I know Dave called me out here. Speaking of being immersed, one thing that I did this summer was I took 5 days away and went to Hawaii. And historically, I'd be someone that would want to be tagging and posting and sharing everything that I was doing in the moment. And I really decided that on that trip, I wanted to step away from everything after the last 15 months. And so I just really immersed myself in nature, in connections, in running, maybe not as fast as Dave, but I ran. And I think that was really helpful because I think we've all been so connected with the next email. Like, are we going to be on quarantine? Are we going to be in school? Are we going to be out of school? And just taking those pauses away and really trying to reconnect with nature and meditation and mindfulness has been something for me that I want to continue post-pandemic. But I'd love to hear what Sarah and Jess, what you might be doing too.
Well, I also took a vacation. We went to Florida, and we have never done that as a family. I was not as good at you, Jess, at disconnecting from everything, but we went to an isolated location that was not near touristy areas. And we went without a plan of what we were doing for the week because I wanted to literally do nothing. So I walked away from that week of also thinking I need to make sure that I schedule in time to do nothing. Not have a plan, just do nothing. It felt so good.
I feel like this is such a perfect example of how we all have different spaces and where we're all, have this really different experience. So there was some collectively lived things. I wanted to shout out to the people here. Amy, I love seeing that you said self-love was your word for 2021. That's so powerful. This idea of self-love, self-compassion is something that we feel is really important and probably don't do enough ourselves. I think that's the work we can all do more of. But as these ladies, they were leading in schools like many of you, and my whole context was different in this last year. So for me, the grind and the things I want to release are isolation and alone time in my basement and being my children's learning coach and trying to support educators and I was struggling a lot being alone. And so my challenges of kind of coming out of some of those habits that I had formed that were not healthy for me. If you read Balance Like a Pirate, and if you know me, I've been running for 7 years. And so on my 40th birthday this year, I had to release a streak, something that was really good for me. But I had to do that so that I could embrace something better and focus on my nutrition, which had gotten so far. So when we talk about letting some things go, I had started to reduce myself in a lot of ways, getting down to the lesser form of myself over this time. And so I'm just speaking to the personal aspect. It's time for me to get a hold of some of those things and just kind of release a lot of that. I loved I don't want to say I didn't love being with my girls, but it's a grind for an extrovert. And so I am super excited to get us back to some sense of normalcy and interaction again. And that's a big thing for us. So it's making sure that we're making mindful choices to get back out and be a little more interactive with the world.
And that's an awesome point. And, I think we have more time to kind of talk about some of the other quadrants too, and what we're doing post-pandemic. And one thing, when I think about positional and professional is, and I know, Tara, you said you've been doing some conferences. I know Sarah and Jess are too. It was amazing to go last week to NAESP in Chicago and just see people, like our people, the people that we tweet and we Instagram and we message, and we've been through all this together to actually see each other and just have conversation. And I know Jay and Nelia and Beth are here, I think, or they were. And one thing that we committed to, and I'd encourage people to with your friend groups, is like, if you're meeting up, set it on your calendar the next meeting. Don't say, oh yeah, let's get back together. Like, take the last 10 minutes of that time to set the next meeting. And I do that with two girlfriends. We have dinner once a month. And at the end of the dinner, we set the next one. Because otherwise you leave and you can forget it. I know with my tribe last week, we have a meetup here in September. It's so easy to get caught up in other things. So it's fun to make sure that you're committing to just taking care of yourself, but also spending time with each other too.
That is such an easy idea. So
Yeah.
simple. And when you have something on the calendar, you prioritize it. Like I do what Google Calendar reminders tell me to do. So
Okay. I live by that thing.
Yeah. I think so. I always look at summers as a time of, sharpening the saw, focusing professionally. And last summer, it was like reading manuals from CDC that, like, yeah, we were growing professionally, but that was not how I wanted to grow professionally. So I'm enjoying reading professional books that are about, leadership and what's good for kids versus, all that medical stuff that we didn't dream of having to deal with.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And as you are joining in the chat too, if there's something you guys do post-pandemic, please do share. I think some of you have already shared that nature is something that really helps you to feel connected back to yourself or disconnect from all the busyness of the world. This is a part of that balance that the ladies are talking about tonight. And so do share, because some of us might need to get some ideas if we're not already implementing it in our life. Maybe that's something we need to add. And I love the idea, Jessica, Kabine, of adding it to the calendar. I live by that calendar. So if before you ever leave the interaction that's bringing you so much joy, go ahead and set a date to do it again. And maybe if it's something you can't see them for another year, that's fine. Set it on the calendar, get it started, something to look forward to. I love that idea. I think it's perfect. And it's really like, it's just what we would do as a coach or a leader. If we wanted to come back and check on somebody that we're mentoring or helping, we're not going to leave that interaction, leave them hanging. We're going to set up a date. So why not do that with our friends and things that bring us joy? Even if it's just a nature walk, you want to put it on your calendar to do it again, put it on your calendar for the next week at the same time. So you make sure that you are intentional to make time for it. Great ideas. Okay, I'll let you guys continue.
So a tool I'm using that I don't know if Jessica Bean or Sarah Johnson started this, but
look at them.
So it's the Saver Planner. I don't know which of you started using this first, but like to jumpstart, for me, I'm looking at it as it's putting self-care focus in the summer. One of you want to talk about it?
Yeah, it's something that I've been doing now just this year. And I did a podcast series where I talked about I've done a few podcast series where I talked about going beyond balance and then also living a mission. And so if you want to hear more about this planner, I highly recommend that. And I can pop it in the comments because I talk about the fact that if we're truly going to be visionary in our lives and we're going to create visions, how do we actually walk that forward? And so for me this year, my one word is become. And so I talked about how in order to do that, I set this big vision and I use our quadrants to do that. But there's a lot of content in there. And so how do you actually chunk away at it? And I had found this planner to use, which is 90 days worth of visioning, and it keeps it nice. You plan by the week, you plan by the 90 days. There's so much in here, and I'll let Jess share any more that she wants to. But if you want to hear more about it, that's really, it's just been impactful for me to be able to manifest the big things that I want to be able to accomplish in my one word this year, to become.
Yeah. And I think, I've been using it for about a year now too. And I think if you've heard of Michael Hyatt too, I think that 90 days seems just really achievable. And it's that, for me, it's that process of writing it down, physically writing it down and looking back. And I know one thing post-pandemic is I kind of enjoyed some of the family time and some of the time away and not being on every single night and every activity. So it lets me look at the month ahead to say, gosh, this week I've got 3 evening activities. I need to say no on these 2 days. So it just kind of gives me that additional permission to set those boundaries that pre-pandemic I probably didn't have very well.
Awesome. Well, I don't have a beautiful planner, but I do have a legal pad that I write a lot of stuff down all the time. And then I have a daily journal that's just full of all kinds of thoughts. But I do think it's very important just to have an outlet like that. And of course, I like what Jay had to say, a vision without this common quote that we've heard more than once, right? A vision without action is what is a vision without action, right? It's just a dream at that point. But if you really want to make the dreams come true, like, you actually have to do something. And so I really love the idea of being intentional, writing it down. And Dave and I were just talking today in a meeting, and we were talking about, writing stuff down or preparing for something, and how oftentimes we do all that and we end up not even needing to look back at that because we still remember it just because we wrote it down. With all that muscle memory and all the different things that comes with writing stuff down, the old school, the old fashioned way of doing things. I think it's just really important that sometimes just having the plan, you don't even need it because you implement it because it's stuck in your mind, but you're intentional in the first place to make a plan. So super, super awesome. These are great ideas over here that you guys are sharing. And I'll let the ladies continue on if you have some more post-pandemic advice for us.
I guess one more thing I wanted to say is we talk a lot in Balance Like a Pirate. Again, these things are all applicable, but you figure out, like, how do you keep those strategies all in one spot and moving forward? I now meal plan, where I'm pretty sure that was one of the Jessicas that put that in there, because I was not a planner very good, but I actually do take care of meal planning now, because that's the other piece of I think we get a lot of productivity ideas, and then maybe we don't ever implement them, or maybe we have stopped implementing them and we realize, why did we ever stop doing that? It was such a good tool. And now is the opportunity to just be thinking about a system that has worked for you in the past, or that you have wanted to try, and start practicing it now here in July before the year kicks up and your habits are harder to keep more committed to, I guess would be the thing.
Definitely. Anything else, ladies, you want to add?
So if we're talking productivity, one of mine that I was sharing with these ladies before, I'm a productivity nerd. So I have purchased every planner that is out there over the years. I've tried so many different things. I've used Evernote. I've used, Todoist and everything. I used to have a system of this notebook is for when I go to conferences. This notebook is for notes when I'm reading. This notebook is for meetings. And I could not figure it out. I finally started this 2 years ago. I just buy a regular spiral notebook that is pretty and that I love. And then I number all of the pages. Now, I don't know if you can buy a spiral notebook with numbered pages. If somebody knows that, let me know, because I spend time numbering all of the pages, which just sounds dumb. But then since it's blank, I can do whatever I want with this notebook, and I start from front to end. And the reason that I number it is because then I keep a table of contents at the beginning of, if there's anything important that happened that day, if I'm at a conference, or it was this meeting, or it was this parent phone call. And obviously I'm using this at work. It's not, I do put in my personal things, but I start out every day, I put the day, I put on the left side, I put whatever events I have that day. And then I start listing my my major to-dos, and I put a little box because I like to cross it off. And this then grows throughout the day as I keep adding on new things that I have to do. My little system is, I know it's a box. When I check back on it, if the box isn't crossed off, I know it's something that still needs to happen. When I write it on the next day that I need to do it, I have a different little check that I put in there. And people who bullet journal, like there's like all sorts of different things. I just made up my own little system. But by using a blank one, it means it could be one page for the day, or it could be like a busy day with all sorts of meetings, and it ends up being like 10 pages worth. And it usually ends up being that I have one per quarter of the school year. So this helps me keep track of things. And then just last week, I was wanting to find my notes from a conference that I went to. And so I looked at my Google Calendar. When was that? Okay, I know it's in this book. And I looked in the table of contents and found what page it was on. And this system has been working for me. So I just geek out about that stuff and wanted to share it.
You're an expert.
I love the idea of a table of contents. Like I just have never thought of that. I have these little notepads all over the place, but I need to leave the first few pages blank and number the pages. That's a brilliant idea. Instead, I do cross off, and then I rewrite my list every single day. So I just rip this off and I love the idea of throwing it away. So it might not work for me because I really like crumbling up that paper and throwing it away, even though I didn't do everything on that list because I rewrote it. Anything that needed to still be done, I just wrote it on the next page. But I love just like crumbling up that piece of paper every single morning when I'm drinking coffee. I like rewrite it and I crumble that up and throw it away, and then I have a new list.
And my email list, I like to see the list of things that were done. Like,
you want to see it all. Yeah.
I want to see, what did I accomplish?
That's so cool though. I love it. I love it that we all have like different systems too. I think, doing whatever works for you, but I too, and Dave and I have both talked about this. We have both tried so many different digital platforms to keep our lives planned, other than our Google Calendar, keeping us knowing where we need to be at what time. Both of us are back to writing on a piece of paper because it just works.
That's awesome. I wanted to say that these two ladies are my heroes for many reasons, but those productivity pieces have been so helpful. And I know even today I was teaching a course and we had a guest speaker who's fantastic that I know has implemented these strategies over the past couple of years to get some semblance of boundaries in his own life as a high school principal. So this is not, these are real practical tips. But I also wanted to say, I guess before we were done, if we were going to be heading off, thinking about the post-pandemic pirate, we really believe this down in our hearts, is that we can't lose who we are in our titles and to remain passionate people. So if I could just, I think this is where Kabine was going with the thread of it, and the seed of it is to make sure that we remember what we need to release and keep and be mindful about that in this upcoming year. And I think one of the biggest things is we learned that we need to reconnect with ourselves and with our passions and to stay in this long-term game. I mean, we've got a lot coming forward. What are we going to say goodbye to? What are we going to keep mindfully? And I think one of the things is, we're looking at planning our lives in 90-day increments where we're going to manifest our joys. Why not put your passions on your calendar for the upcoming year? Like if you're a Google Calendar person, then put something for each month for the love. Don't let it go by. Like find ways to get little boosts of joy, because we know the hard things are going to come this year. We know we're going to be busy. We know we're going to get full again, but plan for your passions and plan for your joys and don't let them just happen. That's what I would like to say to close it up.
Well, and because when you have them on the calendar, and if you have things that you're going to plan along the way, you get joy out of that process as well. And like looking forward to it, it brings you joy.
Yeah. And I think I was just going to finish too with just thinking, so much of the gratitude that we shared this year was with our educators and our parents and our staff, and just taking a moment to share gratitude with your family is really important. It's something that we don't always think about. So whether that's just going for a walk, whether that's a note card, whether that's just one time with one child, it's been a long year for them as well. And so that's just one thing post-pandemic I want to get better at, is just reminding to share more gratitude with the family and my support network.
Yes, I love that. I think there's so many things that the pandemic really highlighted for a lot of us and helped us to realize, because we were forced to deal with it, then we learned to realize and appreciate some of the simple things that I think we once took for granted. For sure, for me, living out in the country, I've told this story before, but I didn't even realize like ducks come to our pond to find their girlfriends or their boyfriends. I had no idea. Like a certain time of the year, like March and April, yeah, they all come and they're like trying to flirt with each other and all these things. I've lived here for 10 years, I've never seen it happen. I'm always traveling and moving during that month, and so I'm never seeing it. But during the pandemic, I was able to like watch them all find a girlfriend, and the ones that were like, nope, you're too extra, like I don't want you. It was just so amazing, and just a simple little thing to appreciate and realize. So this year when it happened again, I knew I was going to be busy and not paying attention, not eating out on the back porch like we were doing. I was like, we got to go watch the ducks. We got to make sure that everybody finds a mate. But I think it's just the little things, like spending time with family, realizing the nature around us, taking time to realize all beautiful things and creations that we could experience and appreciate every single day. So I love that you guys are bringing that out. And I love some of the things that we've talked about over here in the comments. And Nick talked about camping. She's been camping with her family a little more. I'm not really a camper, but if that brings you joy, I'm super excited for you. I like a little bit more air conditioned, and I'm a little bit of a diva, but I love it that you guys are talking. I think earlier they were talking about nature walks. One, Sean, what did you say? I forgot what you said. Anyways, I was going to bring it up, but Sean said some great things too, that he, post-pandemic, he wants to keep in his life and keep making time for it. Like Sarah said, put it on the calendar. Like if you love camping, put it on the calendar for in 3 weeks, we're going to go take a camping trip, or, whenever you can. Oh, and Nick says she does have AC in her camper. I might be able to camp with you then. It's the tent camping that I'm not sure about. All right, ladies. Well, thank you so much for sharing so many amazing things. Jay, yes, my ducks. I called it the daily dose of ducks. So if you followed my stories, you really got to see all of them. They finally did get a mate. I think only one was left behind, but other than that, I was super grateful everybody found someone. It just stressed me out if they didn't. But super excited to have the Balance Like a Pirate ladies. Dave mentioned over in the comments, if you are interested in having these ladies come out and speak to your group, they do that. And they would give you so many great strategies and ideas for keeping balance, not only in your personal life, but in your work, in the work life. We have to balance everything, right? And ladies, if they want to connect with you on social media or other platforms, Sarah, please do mention your podcast in here because it's amazing. And any other platforms you guys have, I want to just go around and let everyone share their ways that people can connect with you. Dave will probably drop most of these links in the comments, but get your pencils out, get your phone out, take a few notes. These ladies are about to share how you can connect with them and share some of your balance ideas. Or if you win the book, share your ideas of what you're learning as you're reading the book.
Okay. Well, I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Jessica Cabine.
Perfect.
I am Principal J on Twitter and Voxer, but I think I'm Principal Johnson J on Instagram.
And I'm Sarah S.A. Johnson, as you see next to my name on all of it. I also have a website which you can hook you up to the podcast, where if anybody's interested in sharing their story, I amplify women. And so if you there's somebody who wants to share your story, you have somebody to recommend, I'm always looking for great guests. And it is primarily educators, and it's a passion of mine. So check out the In Awe podcast, which you can get linked to through all my socials as well.
Awesome.
And I would just add for all, just use the hashtag Balance Lab so we can learn from you.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And if you don't win the book, like I said, go click that link. It's above and below this video. We'll be sharing this out on social media too. And if you know anyone else who just needs a little balance in their life and you feel like this might uplift them, just go purchase that book and send it their way too. Awesome, friends. Well, thank you for joining us for DBC.
Yeah, thank you.
We absolutely love having you here. And we will see you next Thursday, same place, same time, different guests, so you don't want to miss out. Bye, everyone.